There was a woman in the crowd. She told the girls, spit on her, and told the boys, don't let her get through that door. So by the time I got to the door, you can imagine, spit was dripping from the dress that my grandmother had made for me to wear to school the first day.
That is 82-year-old Dorothy Counts talking about the day that this picture was taken. And it was on this day, as a 15-year-old, that she walked through a hostile crowd to become the first black student to integrate Harding High School in Charlotte. This took place on September the 4th, 1957.
Police barricade where you would normally drive down into the circle at Harding. My dad couldn't get there. It's a 2-block walk from 5th Street to the entrance to the school.
That was the longest 2 blocks of her life.
So my dad said to Dr. Tompkins, I need you to walk with her to make sure she's going to be okay, because I need to find something to park.
Usually you may see about a dozen or so kids on the street outside of the school. This was not a normal day. When Dorothy stepped out of the car to look down the hill before starting her walk, there were easily 200 to 300 students, and her father told her,
remember who you are. Remember you are inferior to no one. Hold your head up high. Be proud of who you are, and you can do anything that you want to do. So I proceeded to walk that walk. People were on the porches, they were in the yards, they were in the street, but not only students, but they were adults.
So as she's walking, this angry crowd is yelling at her,
saying, go back to Africa, we don't want you here. Signs were made, using the N-word, and then of course they were pushing and shoving, and then they started throwing things. But there was a lady, her name was Miss Warlick, and she had formed a White Citizens Council when the announcement was made that Charlotte Mecklenburg schools were going to integrate. And she pulled all these people together. And so that's when she was telling the girls, don't let her get through that door, spit on her. And that's when they did.
Dorothy kept walking like a lioness with her head held high.
But my dad said, hold my head up, be proud of who I am, and continue that walk.
So what happened after these images took place is what most people don't know.
I kept my eyes on the door because I said, if I can get inside, everything is going to be okay. And that was not necessarily true. There was a woman in the crowd. She told the girls, spit on her, and told the boys, don't let her get through that door. So by the time I got to the door, you can imagine, spit was dripping from the dress that my grandmother had made for me to wear to school the first day.
See, once she got inside the school, the abuse didn't stop.
Once I got inside, it continued to happen. I had to find a vacant seat because the kids were still following me, doing all kinds of gestures and doing all kinds of things.
Her teachers and all of the administrators completely ignored her the entire first day.
There were teachers lined up in the auditorium. They didn't do anything. So I sat down by myself at first, and then he called all sophomores to come up front. And I came up front and sat with the other sophomores, and that's when they would assign you to go to a homeroom class. And when you went to your homeroom class, you'd go there to pick your schedule and pick up books. I remember walking in that class, and there were 3 adults standing there talking to each other. And it's like I didn't even exist.
What is incredibly inspiring and unbelievable about Dorothy, she was determined to get back to school the next day, even though her parents gave her a choice. But unfortunately, the next day she woke up with a fever and a sore throat. So these abusers at her school thought that they were successful in scaring her away. But on Monday morning,
when I walked in the building, they were shocked.
She hoped that things would gradually get better.
Class, I raised my hand. It's like I didn't exist. And pushed in the hallways by the kids, and every day my parents would ask me the question, what do you think? And I kept saying, it's gonna get better.
The next day at school, a group of boys circled her.
I was sitting there eating lunch, and a group of boys surrounded the table, and they spat in my food.
Someone threw a blackboard eraser at her head.
And I turned around, I looked, and Because every time something happened, it was always a group of kids.
Her family's car got vandalized.
Put my books in the locker. I proceeded to the front door. My dad's car was parked in the circle, and the back window was shattered.
And for the very first time, Dorothy felt afraid.
Now, the target was my family.
Her father made a report to the police and to the school superintendent. And their response? They couldn't guarantee her safety. Her parents made the decision to pull her out. Dorothy had only attended Harding High School for 4 days. Some of the boys in this picture on that fateful day, like Ronnie Hall, Marty Wilson, and Woody Cooper, asked for forgiveness many decades later, while many others who have been identified hide in shame, never replying to media phone calls and don't want to be named.